The United States government has announced its intention to transfer 3 C-130H transport aircraft, along with vessels, to the armed forces of the Philippines. The decision was announced during a meeting between U.S. President Joe Biden and Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at the White House on May 1, 2023. Hello and welcome to N.D.P. News. If you're a new subscriber, we're glad to have you here. If you're a returning one, we're equally excited to have you. Thank you for tuning in. On May 1, 2023, the leaders of the United States and the Philippines, Presidents Joe Biden and Ferdinand Marcos Jr., respectively, met at the White House to enhance their bilateral alliance, particularly in the military domain. This development reflects a swift process of building stronger ties between the two nations, which began after President Marcos assumed power last year and has been fueled by concerns about China's assertiveness in the region. During their meeting, held in the Oval Office as part of President Marcos's 4-day visit to the U.S., the two leaders reasserted the Mutual Defense Treaty signed by their governments in 1951, which obligates the U.S. to intervene in case of an attack against Philippine forces. They also agreed on a range of measures to enhance military cooperation across multiple domains and humanitarian aid in the event of a natural disaster or war. As part of this effort, the U.S. will send 3 C-130 planes and patrol ships to the Philippine archipelago. Both leaders sought to highlight their amicable relationship, a contrast from the strained ties during the Duterte administration. President Biden emphasized the U.S.'s unwavering commitment to the defense of the Philippines, including the South China Sea, and pledged continued support for the modernization of the Philippine military. President Marcos, for his part, emphasized the need to explore new ways to strengthen the alliance and deepen cooperation in the context of the post-pandemic economy. He also acknowledged the challenging geopolitical landscape in the region, particularly around the South China Sea, which has made the Philippine situation one of the most complex in the world. As a result, he argued, it is natural for the Philippines to seek to redefine its relationship with its only military treaty ally and explore new roles in the face of rising tensions in Asia and the Pacific. Philippines boost military capabilities amid territorial disputes. In 2021, the Philippine government showcased its keen interest in procuring 10 single-seat Lockheed Martin F-16Cs and 2 F-16Ds. While the purchase was granted approval by the U.S. State Department, a finalized contract has not yet been established. In recent years, the Philippines has been allocating substantial resources towards bolstering its military capabilities, primarily aimed at addressing security concerns within the South China Sea. The Philippine Armed Forces have been actively conducting patrols in the disputed waters, which are subject to conflicting territorial claims involving various nations, including China. The Philippine Air Force is already equipped with C-130 Hercules transport aircraft. In September 2020, the force expressed its intentions to procure 5 C-130J Super Hercules, although this plan encountered some obstacles due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Presently, 2 C-130H aircraft have already been transferred by the U.S. Air Force, but tragically one of them crashed on July 4, 2021, resulting in the loss of 50 lives and injuries to 53 individuals. In addition to the 3 Hercules transport aircraft, the U.S. government has outlined its strategy to transfer 2 Island-class patrol vessels and 2 Protector-class patrol vessels to the Philippines. However, these transfers are contingent upon approval from Congress. Notably, the Philippines has already received 2 Cyclone-class coastal patrol vessels in late April 2023. According to a statement from the White House, these transfers are intended to bolster the modernization efforts of the armed forces of the Philippines by augmenting their capabilities in maritime operations and for humanitarian purposes in case of natural disaster or war. Please take a second to like the video as we move on. Leveraging C-130s for humanitarian aid in the event of U.S.-Philippines conflict with China or natural disasters. In the face of potential conflicts with China or natural disasters, the United States and the Philippines can effectively utilize the capabilities of the C-130 Hercules aircraft to provide humanitarian aid by rapid deployment of resources. The C-130 Hercules offers the advantage of speed and versatility in the event of a conflict or natural disaster, A key strategy would involve the immediate dispatch of C-130s carrying essential supplies, such as food, water, medical equipment, and temporary shelters to affected areas. These aircraft can transport large quantities of goods, making them invaluable for delivering aid swiftly and efficiently to those in need. Airlift capabilities in strategic locations. The Philippines, being an archipelago, faces unique challenges in reaching remote and isolated communities affected by a crisis. The C-130s can be stationed at strategic locations across the country, ensuring quicker response times and accessibility to disaster-stricken regions. This requires coordinated efforts between the U.S. and the Philippines to identify suitable airfields and establish forward operating bases for the aircraft. Establishing humanitarian air corridors. In the midst of a conflict or natural disaster, establishing humanitarian air corridors is essential to ensure safe and unimpeded passage for C-130s delivering aid. Diplomatic efforts should be made to secure the cooperation of all parties involved, including China, to guarantee the safety of humanitarian missions. These air corridors would enable C-130s to reach affected areas without delays or disruptions, expediting the delivery of aid. Coordinated relief operations. The C-130s can serve as a hub for coordinating relief efforts, acting as a central command and control center for logistics, resource allocation, and communication. Joint task forces should be established, comprising military personnel, government agencies, and humanitarian organizations to ensure seamless collaboration. Enhancing bilateral relations. U.S. efforts to strengthen ties with the Philippines. Both China and the United States hold the position of being the principal trading partners for the Philippines. China, being a dominant regional force, commands considerable influence, while the United States stands as a military ally, and a significant number of key Philippine military commanders, some of whom received training in the North American country, maintain vital personal connections therein. Simultaneously, the Philippines finds itself embroiled in a contentious dispute with Beijing over territorial sovereignty in the South China Sea. The Filipino population holds deep-seated skepticism toward their neighboring nation, as encounters between their fishing vessels and Chinese ships frequently escalate into collisions. Furthermore, there has been significant unease stemming from an alleged remark made by Beijing's ambassador in Manila, which insinuated that the Philippines should not lend support to Taiwan's quest for independence if they care about the well-being of the approximately 150,000 Filipino workers employed on the self-governing island. An anonymous senior official from the United States government, prior to the meeting, revealed certain actions taken by China have caused worry, and quite possibly even surprise for Marcos. The Philippine president holds a sincere desire to foster collaboration with both countries, but finds himself in a precarious situation due to the disconcerting steps taken by China. Washington has exercised caution in cultivating its relationship with the Philippines as part of a series of initiatives aimed at bolstering its presence in Asia and reinforcing its allies in the region in response to China's escalating power. The Biden administration views the Philippines as a crucial logistical asset in the event of a military conflict involving Taiwan, a self-ruling island, ideologically aligned with the United States, but regarded by China as an integral part of its territory. Last year, President Biden engaged in a conversation with Marcos, expressing the American government's interest in strengthening bilateral relations. In November, Vice President Kamala Harris embarked on a journey to the archipelago, followed by Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin in February. During Austin's visit, both nations reached an agreement to enhance the presence of U.S. forces in 4 Philippine military bases, situated in close proximity to Taiwan and the Spratly Islands, the latter being the subject of a territorial dispute between Manila and Beijing in the Southern Sea. John Kirby, the spokesperson for the White House National Security Council, stated that the primary objective of this defense-oriented rapprochement is to facilitate enhanced coordination between the armed forces of the two nations, while ensuring that the United States meets its obligations stipulated in the 1951 treaty, and concurrently bolstering the capabilities of the Philippine Army. Kirby further expressed gratitude to Manila for granting permission to utilize the additional military bases, emphasizing that their usage will be governed by full coordination and cooperation with the Philippine authorities at all times. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our other videos on the channel for more great content. And please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.